Welcome to your daily writing habit, episode number 139. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing a book and you're having some trouble finishing it, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Ink, I-N-K, like the stuff you write with. Each day, I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success and have the ability to turn a non-author into an author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's inspirational quote about writing. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. And that is from Dr. Seuss. And that ties in with today's topic. So let's have some fun and let's look at some lessons and quotes from the legendary author of such books as The Cat in the Hat and Green Eggs and Ham, two of my favorites. And let's see what we can learn from Dr. Seuss as authors. Lesson number 1. So the first one, obviously, the rhyming one, that will be Dr. Seuss, and then I will chime in with my thoughts. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. And to me, this means that you're much stronger and smarter and more capable than you sometimes think, especially as an author, because I know we have our own little ways of being self-defeating and self-deprecating and self-destructive and all the other self things that are sometimes not the most mentally healthy for the creative process. So even in your most frustrating and what feel like uninspired moments, I'd be willing to bet that if you breathe, very important, breathe, step away from your writing, maybe take a walk, meditate, do whatever it takes to kind of reconnect those creative wires in your brain. Don't go on social media. That doesn't do it, just so you know. And then come back and trust yourself. So come back to your writing space after you take that break and recharge and reconnect wires and trust yourself. And if you do all these things, I think you'll tap into new layers of creativity you never knew you had. So that's the first one. The second one, today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. And really, there's nobody else who can write your book the way you would. They could steal your idea word for word, but they will never write the story the way that you would, because that's the spark and the individualism and the personality and the writing style. That is all you. And I talked to a screenwriter recently. He did Johnny Gilligan, he did a presentation for my Writers Club Live group this month. And he talked about, screenwriters have this fear that everybody's going to steal their idea, and they really shouldn't, because in reality, the last thing any writer wants to do is have to implement another writer's idea, really to figure out what the heck the original writer had planned, how they were going to implement it. So it may seem really clear to you when you write your idea out in great detail and say, wow, anybody could steal this. But there's a lot of other X factors and unknowns that they wouldn't be able to steal. So don't assume that they know all the things in your brain, because they don't. Because you're the only one in your head with all your stories and your perspectives and your point of view and the unique language you use. And I could go on and on and on. So to other people, especially in the idea stage, they're just passing ideas, floating through your mind, but it's really nothing solid, and it's not you until you make it that way, until you implement it. And you're the only one that knows how you want to do that. Next lesson from Dr. Seuss. Today was good. Today was fun. Tomorrow will be another one. All right, no matter how bad of a writing day you had, you still have more opportunities to fix any damage, quote unquote, tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, right up until your book goes to print. Nothing is final until then. So take pride in powering through your bad writing days and assume that tomorrow will be better. Next one. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Here's one of my soapbox bang the drum messages. As an author, you have a huge opportunity to make things better, even for just one person. You're an author because you care to do that, because you care enough to put your stories and your words out into the world to have an impact on others. And that's a very special thing. I want to make sure that you acknowledge yourself for that. And it doesn't even have to be a self-help book or a business book or anything specifically aimed at helping others. Even as a fiction writer, You care enough to want to entertain and inspire others, to create a fictitious world for people to escape into and dream in. So this applies to all authors, that you are an author because you care, and that is a very special thing, and that will change the world one person at a time. Next one. Think and wonder, wonder and think. It's an easy one. And as writers, that's one of our greatest traits, I think, is curiosity. And for me, asking questions is what drives that creativity. So it starts with curiosity, asking questions, and then you will see your creativity blossom from there. Think and wonder, wonder and think. I think I want to put that in my workspace. I really like that quote. All right, next one. Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. So, just as it says, sometimes the answers to what seem to be our most complex and twisted writing problems are right in front of our face. Don't overthink, don't overcomplicate, and trust me, you're talking to the queen of that. So, I speak what I must learn, but my advice is look for the obvious answer first. For the obvious answer first, and then work from there. Don't go with the most complicated answer. You might end up rewriting your entire manuscript unnecessarily when really it could just be a matter of changing one muddy sentence. And that's something I notice when I work with my book coaching clients, when I do my editorial analysis service where I review people's manuscripts and I point out any glaring issues, is sometimes when an author believes that an entire section is messed up and I have to rewrite the whole thing, it can come down to literally one muddy sentence that just sends them off track as the reader. And whether the author reading their own manuscript or an outside reader, that one sentence can really just send everything off the rails. So don't overthink, don't overcomplicate. Look for the obvious answer first. And finally, this one from Dr. Seuss, especially for authors. We're all a little weird and life's a little weird. I say embrace your weirdness. We're authors, for goodness sake. People expect us to be a little weird. They expect us to be, I don't know what they expect us to be, recluses, introverted, holed up in a basement somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't mean you need to completely embrace the caricature, but we have to embrace our weirdness sometimes to embrace our creativity and get out of our thinking comfort zone and find those new ideas. So how can you bring that into your writing and not write what you think is expected of you, either by yourself, by your book, your readers, the public? How can you color outside the lines and surprise people, starting with yourself? And that wraps up today's episode of Your Daily Writing Habit, the Dr. Seuss episode. And I would love to hear from you in my Inc. Authors group on Facebook. That's where the authors go, as well as a lot of valuable resources for authors. A really great group of people, very supportive community, all levels of authors there, from people that are thinking about writing a book all the way through New York Times bestselling authors. Thank you for joining me here today on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And if you know someone else who wants to do the same, I would love it if you would share this with them. Thank you very much. And until tomorrow, happy writing.